Greetings, my saplings. Alright, so in today's video, we are going to be talking about the Super Moon Yellow Yeezy 500s. To be more specific, like always, in today's video, we will be mentioning some release info, how to cop them, and of course, some resale predictions. Kick it off with some release info. These will be releasing on June 9th, and another shoe releasing on June 9th that is now confirmed is the Travis Scott Jordan 4s, also known as the Cactus Jack Jordan 4s. So we know now that June 9th is going to be pretty hectic. I am probably going to be live streaming that day, so make sure you turn on post notifications so you don't miss out on that. Not only that, but of course I'll make a how to cop guide for them, so just make sure you're subscribed and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on anything. But anyway, back to the Yeezy 500s. These shoes will be releasing for a retail price of $200. Now, of course, there's some raffles. There's certain stores that will be charging a little extra. Another thing I wanted to mention is that no, these are not the Blush 500s. I'll put a picture on the screen of the blushes in comparison to these. As you guys can see, although they look similar in other pictures, when they're together, you can easily tell the difference. Super Moon Yellows are obviously a lot more vibrant in comparison to the blushes. Anyway, the 500s actually initially released for about $780, maybe $760 if I'm mistaken, on YEEZYsupply.com in a bundle. This was a while ago, but now we see that you are able to obtain this shoe alone. You do not have to buy this shoe in a bundle, thank goodness. Anyway, with the release info out of the way, why don't we jump into how to cop them? And obviously, guys, this is a Yeezy, so obviously the number one way to get Yeezys is using the multiple people jig. The multiple people jig, you don't need a bot, but it basically guarantees you one W or even multiple Ws. It's just unstoppable. So yes, we are going to be talking about the multiple people jig, but before we start talking about that, and I'll walk you through it step by step and all, but before we talk about that, first thing I want to talk about is signing up for Adidas Confirmed, guys, because you have to do that before June 6th. And after this date, there will be a time around 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern when they do a CAPTCHA system. They ask you a question. There's 9 images. You have to select the image that says, for instance, it says, select the image of a skateboard. You have to be really quick and select it. Now, just some tips for this. Occasionally, Yeezy Mafia will leak some information, so I highly recommend that you turn on Twitter notifications for Yeezy Mafia. That will also come into play for what we're going to be talking about Yeezy Supply a little later in the video. So just make sure you have on notifications. Also, guys, there's an app called the L Confirmed app where you can actually practice this. Now, it is $1 and this video is not sponsored. But, you know, if you want to get some extra practice for it, go right ahead and get the app. Now, as of now, I believe the only city that has these is New York City, meaning that you're going to have to pick them up in New York City. Not only this, but for the reservations, you're going to have to be in the zone. You don't actually have to be in the zone. You could just spoof your location. I'm thinking of making my own video for this, but in the meantime, there's plenty that you could find online about this. Just type in on YouTube how to change your location for Adidas Confirm, then there'll be plenty of results. It's super easy. All right, so with Adidas Confirmed out of the way, let's move on to the next thing. This is going to be on June 9th at a random time. Unfortunately, there is no set time for this place, and as most of you guys should know already, this is going to be Yeezy Supply. Yeezy Supply is obviously one of the greatest places to cop because although it's at a random time, you are able to know exactly when they release, and I'll talk about how. And this is also one of the places with the most stock, so even if you're a little late, you still have a very high chance of copying from Yeezy Supply. Unfortunately, you have to keep in mind they do charge $20 for shipping, but we'll get into resale predictions a little later, and you could tell if it's worth it or not. Anyway, like I mentioned, it is a random time. However, I tend to notice that it's usually between 8:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern time. Of course, it could go outside of that. This is just what I've noticed. It usually hovers around 10 a.m. Eastern time. Now, this is going to be a first come, first serve release. In addition to that, they also do restocks periodically throughout the day. The reason they do restocks is because they are constantly canceling orders throughout the day. Why do they cancel orders? Because they're really good at finding out when people get multiple pairs. 1, you cannot ship to the same address. 2, you cannot use a credit card or a PayPal that is linked with the billing to your address. So the only way you're able to get multiple pairs from Yeezy Supply is if, say, you have a beach house and credit card billing for that beach house, or say you live with 2 different people, like 2 different parents. If you happen to have a credit card from one of them and a credit card for another with separate billing, then you could do it. Otherwise, different credit card, as long as it's the same address, it won't matter. You're gonna get canceled. So if you don't have multiple houses, I highly recommend that you just simply stick to getting one pair only, even on the restocks. Anyway, with that info out of the way, you're wondering, okay, how do I cop from YEEZY Supply? So obviously, like I mentioned, it is a random time. So does this mean you're gonna be having to refresh YEEZY Supply all night long? Absolutely not. I would never want you guys to have to do that. That'd be extremely painful. All you guys have to do is turn on post notifications on Twitter for YEEZY Mafia. YEEZY Mafia usually tweets out when the password page goes up. The password page is simply a page that they put up while they're stocking pairs on the site just before they allow the public onto the site. There isn't actually a password for the site. It'll say enter email for updates. They just call it password page as the site loads up pairs. And eventually at a random time, this will go away. Now, to know the perfect time when it's going to go away, you can't just keep refreshing. If you refresh the page, you're going to get stuck there because you have the slash password. So what you can actually do is create a bookmark without the slash password. So this you would have to do in advance, obviously. All you got to do is create a bookmark, and it's simple as that. You cannot refresh the page, otherwise you'll be stuck on the password page. But there's a problem here, because if you spam it too much, you will get IP banned. That means that not only will your computer be banned for about 2 minutes, all the devices on your Wi-Fi will be banned. So what do we do to prevent this? Well, we use the LTE jig. If you want to see me go more in depth into this jig where I walk you through it step by step, check out this video right here. But just to summarize it, really, all you want to do is take out your phone or a cellular device, put it on long-term evolution, and it could still get banned, keep in mind. However, since it's on long-term evolution, it has a different gateway. So if you get banned on your phone, your computer, or anything on your Wi-Fi still isn't banned. Obviously, you don't have to use a phone. You could also use a computer with a VPN. So it has a different IP address. That's up to you though. And all you really got to do is spam that bookmark on your phone, or if you don't set a bookmark on your phone, just keep spamming the link that YEEZY Mafia provides for the password page. Now, unfortunately, there's not always a password page. In fact, for the previous 500 release, I don't believe there was actually a password page. It just simply went live. For this, all you're going to really have to do is just make sure you have on Twitter notifications for YEEZY Supply and be super fast to click that link and buy your pair as soon as possible. And yes, there's plenty of stock. You don't need a bot. You could cop manually. Trust me, guys. Also, I do recommend that you definitely have autofill already set up, guys. It will save you so much time. Also, be prepared to use credit card because YEEZY Supply unfortunately does not take PayPal. Also, be prepared for them to have really terrible shipping. In fact, I even lost a pair of my blue tints through YEEZY Supply shipping, and I never even got my money back. Of course, if you don't trust YEEZY Mafia in providing that link fast enough, you can always just download a page monitor for Google Chrome for free. You could do that. I tend to find that it's like a minute delayed, and I find that YEEZY Mafia actually tweets out before page monitors. But if you find a really good one, feel free to leave it in the comments. Now, moving on to Adidas.com. This is the #1 way to get Yeezys, no matter what pair it is, or just any hyped shoe on Adidas.com that has a waiting room. Just like these Yeezys, they have what's called the splash page. We're going to be using the multiple people jig. And I'm going to be breaking this down step by step. So easy that your grandma can do it. So easy that Uncle Gary could... I'm sorry, guys. I got to stop mentioning Uncle Gary. I got some really vivid memories of him. Alright, so before I get into the multiple people jig step by step, just some things to be aware of. You can have multiple pairs sent to the same address. Unlike YEEZY Supply, all I recommend is that you use different payment methods. I find that when you use the same payment method, you just get the processing payment loop and you'll get stuck there forever. Also, you will encounter some errors. For instance, the add to cart loop, the checking out loop, or even the payment loop. These loops have nothing to do at all with the multiple people jig. You will still get these errors even if you're not using the multiple people jig. There was a whole dilemma where people were saying that it may be patched, and unfortunately Adidas figured out what we're doing. That's not the case at all, and I have proof of this in this video that I made. I showed you evidence that mobile users were also getting these same issues, where clearly you can't be doing the multiple people jig on a cellular device, especially if it's on long-term evolution. It would have nothing to do with the IP address or anything like that. So keep in mind, you can get these errors, and there's honestly no way out of it. For the payment loop, you just have to make sure that the name on the card is correct, because obviously you might be using your wife's card, you might be using your parents' card, And you have to make sure that the name up there isn't your name, even though you might have that for autofill. It has to be their name for the card. Anyway though, with all that info out of the way, why don't we jump into this step-by-step guide for the multiple people jig. And if you have any more questions, check out this video right here. I go far more in depth into it. So what you're going to want to do, step 1, open up Google Chrome. Step 2, click on the person, or it might be a dot, might be something around the lines of that, in the top right corner of Google Chrome. Step 3, you're going to click add person. Wait, hold on. No, you click manage people. Okay, continue with the suspense. Step 4, you're going to want to give them a name, give them a picture, and then you just want to click save. Step 5, you're going to want to go to the Adidas splash page. Copy and paste that link into every single Chrome user that you've created, and there is no limit whatsoever. The more the merrier, guys. It all depends on how much RAM your computer has. For instance, one computer might be able to handle 20, another computer maybe 10, and one computer might be able to have 50 Chrome users. Now, one pro tip when doing the multiple people jig, I recommend hitting the F3 button on Mac. This will make it so you can see all of them running at once. You don't have to keep switching to each individual person, because if you have 40 running, that could get really hectic. But if you press the F3 button, it looks 4 little windows on the top of your keyboard. You press that, you'll be able to see all your windows at the same time. For Windows computers, all you have to do is click the Windows button and the Tab button at the same time. If that doesn't work, you can drag one of your Chrome users to the top of the screen, and it will show you everything just like the same way. Finally, step 6. When YEEZY Mafia tweets out that splash page is live and pairs are getting stocked on, all you got to do is on each individual Chrome user, just simply refresh, and then they'll all be waiting in line. Now, don't be surprised if you don't get in within the first 20 minutes or so. Adidas still has to load up the pairs, even though the splash page already started. But you can expect that you will eventually start to get in a lot. Also, guys, I get this question a lot. You guys ask me if you should sign in on Adidas.com to your Adidas account. No, not at all. You just stay signed out, okay? Alright, so with that out of the way, now I want to talk to you guys about some first come first serve releases for online releases. I'm actually going to have to make an updated video for. However, for those of you who don't have access to the Adidas.com releases, say you're in different countries, Sneaker News actually has a fantastic page set up for every single country where you could just check out the site and you could see exactly what stores are getting them. And all you got to do is call your local one or whatever and say, hey guys, are you getting them, just to confirm. And I'm sure that they might be doing a raffle. If not a raffle, maybe they'll do a first come first serve. Of course, just give them a call. Make sure you check out this site. For whatever country you're in, it should have it down there too. Also, guys, of course, there's going to be a lot of raffles for these shoes. I'll make an updated video, hopefully, for all those raffles. So, again, make sure you have post notifications turned on for those Cactus Jack 4s, also for these as well. But just some raffles that I actually found now. In the meantime, Avenue actually isn't set up yet as I'm recording this video. However, they should have it up and running in a little bit. Then also, End Clothing is going right now. You could sign up right there. Also, Naked is doing a first come first serve raffle. Basically, it's just a raffle. I don't know why they're calling it a first come first serve thing. Also, Sneakers and Stuff isn't yet open. However, I'm assuming that they're going to open it soon. Then Très Bien. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that so wrong, and I'm sorry, guys, if I offend you. But I do know that they're doing a raffle too as well. And you have to keep in mind, for all these raffles and some ones that I'm going to update you guys in the future on, there is a higher retail for the most part on these. So that's going to lead me into the resale predictions, and you guys can decide if you still want to go for them, say for personal wear, through these raffles. Anyway, for resale predictions, am I expecting a sellout? Absolutely. I don't expect them to brick like those power phases. Am I expecting resale value? Definitely. I'm expecting resale value to hover around what the blushes are going for, if not potentially a little more, because I believe that stock is very, very similar. However, I'm expecting that demand is actually a little higher on these, but they still are a YEEZY 500, and there still are a lot of people who don't like these in comparison to V2s, where with V2s, you can have the same amount of pairs, but there's obviously a lot more demand on V2s in comparison to these. It's supply and demand, guys, so just staying conservative. I'm going to go ahead and say that they're going to have around the same resale as the blushes, potentially a little bit more, meaning that, hey, if you get these from Adidas.com for retail, that's definitely very good profit. However, if you were to get them from a raffle that charges $265 or something like that, I'm not really sure that I could guarantee you guys profit. But that'll conclude today's video, guys. If you happen to learn a thing or two, make sure to leave a like on the video. But most importantly, I want you guys to stay 100% updated on these, on the Cactus Jacks, on every single other hyped shoe like the off-white ones. Basically, just turn on post notifications, make sure you're subscribed so you're 100% updated so we could all cop without the use of bots. But with that, have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you guys later.
Now there's just one thing to say. Get your foot off my foot. Ah.
Get your foot off my foot, yeah! Get your foot off my foot.